This is a PSA that this video shows really things that made me feel disgusting.
Really inappropriate things to do with minors and children.
Yeah. There's video examples of what we're referencing when it comes to Shane Dawson. So just if any of that is an issue for you, do not watch this video because it's pretty consistent the whole time.
Yes. Contents of racism, blackface, pedophilia. Yeah, that's like the triggers.
The general gist. Yeah. But just go into this episode knowingly and
keep your mental health good. Here we go. Hello, everybody.
Welcome back to Glitter Gel Pen.
Episode 9.
This is the first time we've ever recorded in the morning.
Yes. So here we are, natural lighting and all.
Yep.
Today we have another deep dive for you. This is going to be the deep dive of Shane Dawson.
I'm ready. I know you did all the research.
Yes, it is a whole lot, and we're going to really dive in today and get all of his past up to the present day, what's going on.
I was a really big Shane Dawson fan, from the very beginning, in the problematic days. Looking back, they were problematic.
We were children. We didn't know. So, yeah. Do we want to just jump right in?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, to start us off, I'm starting with my section called Who is Shane Dawson? So, Shane was born on June 19th, 1988 in Long Beach, California.
Okay.
And he grew up with an abusive father who would get drunk and abuse him and his older brothers, of which he has 2.
Okay.
He started his YouTube channel on March 10th, 2008, which would make him 19 at the time of his first video. So I do want to really emphasize this, that
he's young.
He was, in
young.
a way, he was young, but he was always an adult since the very first day that he started his channel.
Okay, good to know.
He was 19, so that means everything else, he was at least 19, 20, in his 20s up until now he's in his 30s. Mm-hmm. Just to note that at the very beginning. But within 2 years, he had received more than 500 million views. That, to me, was crazy thinking about, because in 2010, 500 million views was a lot.
Yeah.
That's still a lot.
Getting 10,000 views back then was a huge deal.
Yeah. So just thinking 2010. Shane grew up as an overweight kid, and at the time that he started his channel, Shane was working at Jenny Craig with his mom and his brother.
I just remembered the video, Schmitty Schmeg. I think that might have been the video that introduced me to him when he quit his job at Schmitty Schmeg.
Yeah. So he worked at Jenny Craig, and he was fired in 2008 for posting a video pole dancing at work, amongst other things. He got fired. His mom, his brother, and about 6 other co-workers who appeared in his video got fired after the company saw the video. Oh. And I have the link to the video if we want to watch that.
His emo hair.
It's probably such a wonderfully touching book about weight loss. Why not, read a couple passages? So, from the Jenny Craig staff, here is Valerie Bertinelli, losing it. For my son, Wolfie. Aww. She asked me how experienced I was. I said that except for my 9th grade boyfriend when I was shoving my head in his crotch. Actually, he already dumped me before I got to try that. I laughed. I was still a virgin.
Is this really in this book?
I think so, yeah. Valerie Bertinelli's not the owner of Jenny Craig, but she was a spokesperson. So the book was not a Jenny Craig book. Mm-hmm. It was a book she wrote.
Okay.
And they're
I wasn't sure if he just opened it up and just started saying stuff.
I think it was really in the book.
Rock and roll Milou. She had learned to roll a joint when she was still in grade school, and by 12 had used both pot and LSD.
Dave had fired himself up with plenty of Jack Daniels. I forgot the fucking words.
There's a break in my memory as the drugs took effect and I fell asleep for an hour. I slept through the transition, the most difficult part of labor. My doctor woke me and after a quick check said, I think it's time to quit.
So it's just him vlogging at his job whenever it was probably really inappropriate.
It was at his job, and they were reading these vulgar kind of things, and they put it on the internet. So they did get fired.
And he was showing some women's before and afters.
Yeah. So I could see how Jenny Craig was not happy about that.
Someone who was working overtime was Shane Dawson's hair straightener.
Yeah, for real.
That's crazy.
And Styles stayed around for quite some time.
I love it. I love it.
So Shane continued to make videos. This is the part that's wild. He got fired. He's like, you know what? I'm already fired. We're going to keep doing this. So he made his second channel. His first one was Shane Dawson TV. His second one is Shane Dawson TV 2. This channel consisted of parodies and funny music videos, short films that he deemed were more high production work. And Shane at this time thought that he wanted to be in the film industry and that he wanted to be a director. So that's why he was going for this, like the skits and stuff like that. He got tired of this channel and created his third channel. This third channel he called Shane.
Okay, creative.
Yeah. So this channel consisted of Shane's daily life, family members, and vlog style videos. This is the channel where he posted the funny skit, Fred is Dead.
Okay.
Which got a lot of popularity and is like one of his most popular videos in the beginning.
Okay.
And it's right here.
But I can't do it. I'm not a killer. I can't kill somebody. But I know somebody that would. Get ready, Fred. She's coming for you.
Hey guys, it's me, Fred. I'm all tied up, and I don't know where I am. Maybe my mom tied me up. Last time my mom tied me up, it was because she wanted some alone time. Mommy time. Usually when she says mommy time, she's in the bathroom for 3 hours, with the door locked, and the radio on. But I think the radio's broken, because all I hear is bzzz. I think I just farted. Sometimes my farts smell like peanut butter. But I don't eat peanut butter. You know how hard it is to pee directly into your mouth? I hope somebody finds me. What if no one's looking? Last time a boy went missing, they found him in the trunk of a guy's car, naked, with his pee-pee chewed off. My mom won't let me have caffeine because she says it makes me hyper. No frappuccinos? No Starbucks? I think I'm gonna kill my mom. You wanna watch me do it? I think I wanna do it quick. I don't want her to have a lot of pain. Maybe I'll shoot her. But where am I gonna find a gun? I think my dad has one. He kills people for a living. I shouldn't have said that. Now he's gonna kill me. Or maybe he'll kill my mom.
Okay. It's like child humor.
Yeah, he's making fun of
Fred,
yeah, like a parody of Fred.
But Fred was a kid.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I don't know.
And this is where Shanae makes her first appearance.
Oh, okay. Is she at the end of the video?
Yeah.
I'm out!
Yo, Fred!
Who are you?
My name is Shanae, and Shane Dawson sent me here to do him and all his fans a motherfucking favor.
Are you gonna take me home?
Do you live in hell?
No.
Well, that's where your chipmunk ass is going.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
So this video is where Shanae makes her first appearance, which brings us into the controversies of Shane Dawson. So the racist controversies start here with the hype around Shanae and the Fred is Dead video. Shane kept making video skits using Shanae. And it needs to be noted that Shanae was supposed to be a stereotypical ghetto black woman. Stereotypically, that's what it was supposed to be, which obviously in retrospect is his first controversy, even though people weren't talking about it back then.
Yeah, it took him a while to catch up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It didn't really have an impact back then, but it will come back later, all of the Shanae things.
Okay.
In these Shanae skits, Shane would say the N-word.
I didn't even remember that.
Yeah.
That he painted his face black. That is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. And it happened quite a lot. He would blackface, say the N-word, and use racial stereotypes. I have a compilation of Shane Dawson's offensive racist moments.
Okay.
Can't believe I'm here looking, I'm singing in front of Simon and my girl Paula and my boo Randy. Yo, man.
Oh my God.
It's so outlandish.
It's worse than I remember.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Are you sure about this, girl? Don't be stupid. Girl, you cannot be calling anyone stupid when you is wearing a fruit basket on your head. Whatever, you're just jealous of all my cute ass hats, don't lie.
Oh, look, there's Allie. She's going out with the baddest boy in school.
You mean that lesbian with a baseball hat?
He's Johnny. He's so hot.
Okay, you know what? We are so over, Johnny.
Whatever, backwoods. I'll just find another Indian virgin to have sex with. Backwoods.
As acting president of Degrassi Student Council body, I, Liberty Van Sands, am here to welcome you to Degrassi. But I must warn you, if you're a troublemaker, I'll be on your ass like flies on dog shit, little girl. Hey, where's JT? It was time to let go of him, and I just want to let you know that I, Liberty Van Sands, am choosing you to be my new object of affection.
Him doing the underbite?
Yeah.
As Liberty from Degrassi is too much. I know it's all too much.
Yeah.
But the moment he went like this and said he was from Degrassi, I was like, oh no. Oh
yeah. No, and yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's just so wild in 2024 to look at that and be like, what?
And this like blew him up.
Yeah, it was like everybody accepted that back then. Like we thought that was okay.
Yeah.
Like yikes. So yeah, we're starting off great with his come up. That leads us into his predatory behaviors. So this is the stuff that's crazy to me. Obviously Shanae and the stereotypes and the blackface are not okay and weren't good. The predatory behavior is where it's really bad. So from 2010 to 2015, Shane started gaining a lot of followers. He hit 1 million subscribers, and he hit 1 million at the beginning of 2010, which again, like how we said, in 2010, even 1 million subscribers was
it was crazy.
insane.
Like, I remember because Fred was the first one to hit 1 million, and I remember, like, me and my brother, like, watching the countdown on YouTube, like, when it happened, because it was so, like, 1 million subscribers.
Yeah,
just
now
people
have multi-million, like, a lot of people
you don't even know everyone that has 1 million subscribers.
Yeah, but at the time, that was insane. So Shane had 1 million at the beginning of 2010, and he started the beginning of 2014 with 5.5 million. So he really, through those 4 years, gained a lot of a following. At this time of YouTube, there weren't any restrictions on things like there are now. So kids could watch any content.
And everything had ads on it. Like, it didn't matter what you were saying or doing.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
So Shane started making private video chat rooms with young fans aging
This is news to me.
Yeah, with young fans aging 13 to 17 during this time. And like we said, he started out in 2008 as a 19-year-old. So at this point, he's 21, talking to 13 to 17-year-olds. There's a clip.
Okay. Everybody going to saying things like, show me your tits. So my tits. I'm so sweaty right now. Oh my god, can you guys see my pants? Okay, good. I was like itching myself and I'm not wearing any pants. Then I realized I was on camera. This is a bad idea. Anytime I do these tiny chats, I always say something or show something inappropriate.
And if he's jokingly singing "Show Me Your Tits," it's like, we were, 11, 12?
Yeah.
Between the ages of 18 and 10.
And I can tell you back then, if I would have known how to get into wings,
oh my God,
I would have been all in that. And if he told me to show me for me to show him his tits, I probably would have done it.
I knew that was where that was going. You're like, if I knew how to get into these rooms. But no, I know what you mean. He had the Tumblr emo boy thing going on, so I get it.
And the following, and you feel like, again, this was like, I feel like one of the very first instances of like parasocial relationships on the internet.
And YouTube was different because it was actually like normal people just sitting at home like making videos. So you really felt
like you knew them. And at that time, it wasn't as known like that YouTube was a career, or YouTube was a job. So it was just like, oh my God, this person that I watch, who just happens to have a lot of people who watch him, like, we're talking right now.
And I used to go to the VidCons like back then, and Cassim G is one of the guys that was in the video, the dating show video, that it was in that compilation video. But like, VidCon for the first 3 years was like, okay, it was like, if you don't know what VidCon is at all, it was just like a YouTube convention in LA, and they would have like parties every night, and it would be like 3 to 4 days of just like meet and greets with all the YouTubers. But it wasn't like lined meet and greet. It was like all the YouTubers would just go to a hotel and hang out for 3 days.
Yeah.
And the fans could just walk in and you would just be sitting around talking with them. And it was so cool because it was like, oh, they're like normal people.
Yeah.
But then after like year 4 of VidCon, it like started to be where it was just screaming fans like running. And then they started keeping the creators and the fans separate. But Ty used to get us into the VIP parties because he got the bracelets for his subscriber count or whatever. And those parties were like, I was 15, 14. There was alcohol there. And each night there was a different party thrown by a different YouTube network.
Yeah.
And they were just in there getting so drunk, and everyone would just hook up with each other.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
I bet.
It was.
Yeah. So there's also other videos that I found while doing this where his mom is in the chats with him and they're telling girls to twerk. Like on Omegle, him and his mom would be like telling little girls to like twerk.
Like
stuff.
people like that. Like me and my friends used to get on Omegle, and it was just men like whacking off.
Yeah.
And we would just be on there.
Yeah. On Omegle, there would be times when I was watching these videos where they would be like, oh my God, they would be freaking out because they didn't expect to be on Omegle and like match with Shane Dawson.
Yeah.
And so he would tell them to twerk and they would twerk, and he would tell them to do this and that.
We would have twerked.
Yeah, we would have twerked for Shane Dawson back in the day. So now we have a video of a 12-year-old girl. She went to a Shane Dawson meet and greet back in 2011, and she said that she wanted Shane to be her first kiss. Shane was 23 at the time.
Ooh, okay.
And he obliged.
All right, 3, 2. Okay, I think I missed. Okay, get out of here. Thank you.
I love you.
That's the exact scenario I was picturing whenever I was talking about those YouTube events. That's so gross.
That is, as a 23-year-old, like when someone's 12, if you really even...
You say no.
Yeah, you say no. And if you don't want to be mean and just be like, no, we're not doing that.
And then letting them film it.
Yeah.
Ugh.
If you didn't want to be mean and just be like, no, you could be like, you can give me a kiss on the cheek or something. If you want to, I don't know, that would still be weird. But I'm just saying there were so many other options that were better than just going with that and doing that. That's so weird. The girl in 2020, she made a statement on Twitter, which is now X. And she said, Shane Dawson created a weird sexual tension between himself and his very young female audience. This is why asking him for a kiss ever came to mind for me, because he had opened the door for that kind of thinking and behavior.
For sure.
Yeah. And I also, if you like read in the comments and stuff, people were trying to blame this girl for doing that. It's like, she was 12, okay? And like she said, like he set this precedence that like
and
that could happen.
Think about all the boy bands and Justin Bieber's of the world. Like whenever he's like the age that he is now, he's not going to let some girl like walk up to them and kiss them and like, be like, let me film it. Like, that's weird.
It is weird. So then another thing, calling back to Fred is Dead, there was one time where Shane recalls Lucas Cruikshank, which is the guy who played Fred, messaging him to hang out in his hotel room when Lucas was 14 and Shane was 19. So Shane said that he followed Lucas on Twitter, and then they started talking on AIM, and that Shane said he was 19 and Lucas was 15 at the time. Then he said that Lucas invited him to his hotel room and said he, quote, we should hang out. It was like 1 in the morning. And then Shane said, isn't that kind of weird though? And Shane told his mom, I think Fred is trying to fuck me.
I can hear those words coming out of his mouth.
Yeah. And then he said, I was like setting up the hangout. I said something. I made a really gross joke about blowing him because I thought it was going there. And he blocked me. He blocked me on Twitter. He blocked me on everything. Deleted every tweet he had sent me. I went too far and I met him 3 years later and it was cool. So that's weird. Making a joke as a 19-year-old to a 15-year-old.
Because I feel like the way that he's saying it, like Shane would have went and probably hooked up with him.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. And I think that, I don't know that those were Lucas's intentions. I think maybe he really just wanted to hang out with this other fellow like YouTuber who was really popular.
Freaked out by him or something.
Yeah, because when Shane made that joke, Lucas blocked him and everything. So I don't think that was Lucas's intention.
Yeah.
So yeah, on the Shane and Friends podcast, Shane said some really crazy things about literal children. Let's watch the video.
This is the stuff, whenever I started seeing this like years ago, this is the stuff that made me I had to click off. I was like, I can't.
This child was probably 6 years old, and I was taking a picture of something, and the kid turns to me and goes, oh, are you Instagramming? And first of all, how does a 5-year-old, 6-year-old know what Instagram is? Right. Which is terrifying. Second of all, I was embarrassed because yes, I was, and it was a picture of my salad. And the 6-year-old girl goes, oh, how many followers do you have? I have 125,000.
No.
Her dick was almost as big as mine.
Really?
And I said, okay, little big dick, why do you have so many followers? And she goes, oh, I'm a cheerleader. And I'm like, oh, really? And she shows me her Instagrams, which are like, first of all, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but like, she's like sexy.
You're disgusting.
I know. Listen, we've talked about pedophilia
this
before.
Is Shane. Like, do not say this, and like, I don't even want to talk about it. Like, you will get arrested. Like, he kind of can. Listen, he allegedly has this justification for pedophilia, and it's so disturbing. And like, I just pretend that he doesn't.
Okay, wait, no. Let me explain. Let me explain.
Oh God.
Here's my justification for pedophilia.
I can't.
Here's my thing. People have foot fetishes. People have fetishes about, everything. Fine, everybody do your thing. So why is it when somebody looks at Google's like naked baby on Google and jerks off to it, they can get arrested. I don't understand
because that's disgusting.
Yeah.
I knew that he had made comments, but he literally tried to argue pedophilia just then.
He literally was trying to justify it, and he literally called a 6-year-old sexy.
Ugh.
That is disgusting.
I feel like weird even like looking at a picture of her while watching that. You know what I mean? Like, ugh.
Yeah. It's that's one of the most wild videos to me of this whole thing
and he's still making content. I'm like, that's just also, I'm obviously being reminded of all like the problematic stuff that he did, but like he was that guy on YouTube that made people feel comfortable in some way. Like he could go and do a docu-series on Jake Paul or Tana, Jeffree Star, and make them feel humanized. And it's like the idea that like, I don't know.
It almost is everything that he's ever said and done. Is like everything calculated with him? Because I feel that way. I just get the vibe from seeing this kind of stuff that he could actually have pedophilic, that's the word, I don't know, tendencies, and like he makes people feel like they're welcome and included. I could see
he's literally arguing.
Yeah, I could see him manipulating children. Allegedly. That's not, obviously I got no proof that's actually happened in real life, but I'm just saying, it's not far off to me.
There were a few years ago, there was like this, I don't know how widespread it was, but I remember talking about it with people, and there was a moment where, I don't know if it was on Twitter or what, but they were trying to stop discriminating pedophilia as a fetish.
Yeah.
And I was like, no. If you think that's okay, you shouldn't be on Earth.
Yeah,
that is so disgusting.
You can't, that's something you cannot argue to me. I will not be down.
I don't know who that woman was that he was talking to.
It was his co-host for the podcast, for the Shane and Friends podcast. I don't know her name.
She literally was like,
don't justify it. Stop. Don't even say this. And she's like, he has this justification for pedophilia, and I try to just pretend that he doesn't.
That sucks.
That means he's talked about it like off camera.
I'm sure.
Because if she already knew he had this justification, that's not the first time that he's said that. So, yeah. It also made me concerned about the fact that present day he has 2 children. So, yeah. But we'll get there. Shane, he made a video of himself pretending to jerk off to a photo of Willow Smith.
This is the one that I remember very vividly.
This picture was from when Willow Smith was 11.
Do you think he thinks because he's gay that everybody knows he's just kidding?
Oh, Willow. Oh, whip your hair back and forth. Oh, hey.
Hey, I'm not done yet.
Oh, let her finish.
Okay.
That shit is not funny.
Yeah. Also remember though that about you saying, do you think people know he's gay and so they just know he's kidding? Back in this time,
he wasn't out.
Yeah, he wasn't out, so people didn't know.
I just can't make it click in my brain how someone can it's just gross.
And then there's Shane and his fiance at the time, Lisa Schwartz. They were talking about sex to Shane's 12-year-old cousin, and there's a video for that.
We want to explain what sex is to you. Please, peeps. I mean, that works.
Lucy.
See, oh.
And then you're so happy when you're an adult.
So, Lucy, does that make sense?
Can you reenact it for us? And he should put a ring on it.
And he should put a big ring on it. How old are you?
I'm 12.
This feels very...
Right? You know what?
Are you? No, you're not on your period? You bleed.
No.
Now listen, you have a boyfriend, right?
Yeah.
Now, what did I tell you? When he says, can I put it in, you say...
No.
Good. Now, when he says, what about just in your mouth? You say...
No.
No.
Ew.
Yeah.
I remember that video. I don't remember I feel like it might have came back out and resurfaced like whenever the Colleen stuff happened too.
Yeah, it's so bad. And like that was his cousin. And if I was the mom of that girl, I would be pissed knowing that he was like talking to her about that and talking to her like that.
He definitely thinks it's okay too. That's like what's so fucking gross.
Yeah. It's like going down this rabbit hole was way worse.
Can I take back on every previous episode where I was like, I'm going to check out his podcast and see what he's talking about now. Like,
yeah.
Ew.
Yeah.
And it's like he did it so much that it was like who he was. It wasn't just like a little joke he made once.
And I can definitely see why, with all of this that we've seen, why that 12-year-old girl would think that she can ask Shane Dawson to kiss her.
Yeah.
Like, that he made it normal.
Ugh.
Okay, now that we've talked about that, we're going to move on to Shane Dawson and Trisha Paytas.
Okay.
So, in 2014, Shane and his newfound popularity decided to start collaborating with another YouTuber who was almost as controversial as he was. And that person is Trisha Paytas.
Okay, let's click on this.
It's Trishi! That's right, Japanese pop star Trishi! This is my first YouTube ever, but it's not gonna be my last. A young nigga got a bag cause I'm brown, searching my car, looking for the product, thinking every nigga is selling narcotics. Real country ass nigga let me play with his rifle, pussy put his ass to sleep, now he caught in my night wolf. All you niggas want some Nick cake, if you eat. I'm over the Mexicans.
This video is bringing up, I used to hate her.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I have always felt like when Trisha talks about Kamala Harris and how she was like not pro-Trump, I've never believed her. It's the way that she goes about saying we needed women and trans and LGBTQ. There's always been something about it that I just do not believe.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be honest, she says that she was on drugs.
And she says that she was trolling during these times and stuff, but I think that's like who she really is.
I know. Her story has always been that whenever the Jason Nash, David Dobrik fallout thing happened, that she was like on severe drugs and doesn't remember anything. Mm-hmm. And something about it, I'm like, I don't know. I don't remember her. I mean, maybe she did pills and stuff like off camera. Like, I don't know. But like these moments where she's being so crazy, like I don't think she was on drugs when she said most of this.
Yeah.
She looks healthy. So I've just, whenever she talks about the political stuff specifically, like I've always felt like it wasn't the most genuine thing.
Yeah.
Like her audience are the girls and the gays, and she's going to say anything to keep them like right there.
Yeah. So that kind of just is something to show that Trisha was controversial just as Shane was. They started collaborating. Their first collaboration was March 31st, 2014. And then Drew Monson came into the picture, into the friend group. Do you remember Drew?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
I might have to look at a picture of it.
So he came in to the group, and it seemed to make Shane jealous because for a long time, everyone thought that Shane and Trisha were dating. They would speculate that in videos, and it was like a big thing. People would ship them and all that kind of stuff. But whenever Drew came in, people started shifting that and thinking that Trisha and Drew were dating. And so it seems to have resulted in Shane putting Drew down and like taking jabs at him any chance he got. So there's a video of that.
Right. Like when I hear the word like brothel or hostel or garbage can, I think like Drew's house. You know what I mean? We need to change that.
I don't like how much you've changed. I don't like that I used to be poor. Really? How fucking long ago? 100 years?
No, you talk a lot about how you want money, so...
No, I don't. I talk about how I need a little bit of money. That sounds like I want money. What I'm saying is I need money to, like, live in a place.
Just like...
being just like mean girl.
Yeah, passive aggressive, like just mean to Drew. When their videos before Trisha, or like before, where Trisha used to hang out with Drew. She knew him first. And Drew, they were like all just happy and would make jokes and stuff. And then when Shane started getting that sense of jealousy, allegedly, is when it shifted and he started taking jabs like how we just saw. And so once Trisha began to grow in her career and she got bigger on YouTube, Shane was left with Drew most of the time. And they created the movie Not Cool. Did you ever see the...
I'm sure I saw a trailer or something for it, but I've definitely never seen the movie.
I've never seen the actual movie, but it was supposedly horrible, really bad, and there's more to that, and we're going to get to it in just a little bit. But for right now, we'll just say that Drew was in Not Cool, and the movie was horrible.
Okay.
There was also a girl named Alexis G who came into the picture with Shane. So at one point, Shane was doing like weekly segments with other creators. He would put them on his channel. so that he could upload more frequently without having to do the work. And this girl, Alexis G, had a segment called Bomb.com, and she was 15 at the time.
I feel like I remember her.
Her content is wiped from the internet, her Bomb.com content. I could not find clips of it anywhere, but on Reddit threads is where I got
Alexis
all of my...
is all, yeah,
Yeah.
I remember her.
On Reddit is where I was like looking and going down threads about it. I couldn't find anything, but it came to an end because apparently Shane's fan base didn't find her to be funny. She did go on the Shane and Friends podcast when she turned 18, and it was in 2016 for a special like 18th birthday episode for her. Yeah. And again, she had the segment when she was 15. So Shane's known her since she was an underage girl. And they took provocative pictures, and he said he would help her take some 18-year-old nudes.
Ew, he is disgusting.
Yeah. That's just really weird, knowing that he found her at 15, had her, and then at 18 celebrates her 18th birthday.
With that.
Yeah. And he also, people were saying it was weird because he also used to call her his daughter, just make those kind of remarks. But then there was also a moment in 2014 where he spoke of how he wanted to rail Alexis in graphic detail, but he disguised it like as a funny bit, like haha.
It's just like when the joke is 24/7 and ongoing, it's not a joke. That's who you are.
You're serious. Yeah. So that's just another instance of predatory behavior. Also, like I said, her content is wiped. She's never talked about him publicly again after she left like the Shane and Friends podcast, after she quit her Bomb.com segment. She does not bring him up. He doesn't bring her up.
She seems to not be on the internet that much.
Yeah.
Maybe, but...
People speculate that there was something that probably went down between them. We don't know what that is, and there's no actual like proof for that, but
it says something that she like removed herself from the situation.
Yeah.
And like digitally too. Like she like wiped all that off.
Yeah. So back to the movie Not Cool. It actually came about because Shane Dawson was on a show called The Chair.
I remember this.
Yeah. So the assignment for The Chair was that two directors are going to take the same exact screenplay, so the same exact script, same exact characters, and they're both going to direct the movie, and people would watch both movies and vote on which director should win a reward of $250,000. There's a video, I believe.
And so I've always been fascinated by trying to set up a situation where you can actually see how two different directors would take the same material and turn it into two separate movies. So we created rules, R-rated or less. It has to be 85 minutes or longer, and they have to stick to the plot of the script, and I asked them to keep the character names so that the audience could follow that this version of Scott is the same character originally.
I just wanted to show the rules, that it was the same script. So they were given $1 million to recreate or to create this movie each, and instead Shane essentially took the money and did whatever he wanted with it. It was originally a like dramedy, and Shane rewrote the script without anyone telling him to do so or wanting him to do so, and fought so hard for credit as a writer of this movie, and he turned it into just a straight comedy, saying that Superbad was his inspiration for it, even though it was nowhere near Superbad. And we want to note, it's not like a director making a couple like rewrites. Once he finished, it was a completely different movie than what he was given, so he abandoned all the rules of the show. So Shane was also seen the show painted in a light that we hadn't seen him before, because YouTube, he controls the narrative. He was always being fun, whatever, and apparently pedophilia. But this shows him being a jerk, and I feel like this is who he really is.
And I think it says something that his true color might have shown, because his goal was always to be a director of movies and stuff. So it's like he gets into what he wanted to do, and then he like changes up.
Yeah.
Himself.
Raunchy. Somebody out there is a rat, and they're going around saying this is the raunchiest movie ever made, and it's pissing me the off.
He says, look, I'm going to be honest with you. I've had clients that have gone online, watched Shane's stuff, and said, I don't want to be a part of that.
When I was an actor, I was auditioning for everything. I don't quite understand the logic of being picky when you have no job.
Well, no, but that's the problem. They do have jobs. And one woman in particular who's a professor who's up for tenure.
Well, then why am I saying professors? Where are the actors?
It's a smaller, more limited talent pool than out of New York or LA.
Can't find actors. If we can't find crew, how are we going to fix this to make Pittsburgh look great? Because Zach Quinto ain't doing anything.
It's been mentioned many, many times. The is a problem for people. So if we just like lose that, I'm just saying.
I'm not taking anything out of the movie to please a bunch of out-of-work actors in Pittsburgh who should be lucky to get an audition for a feature film. No director has ever taken anything out of a movie to get somebody to audition. Shane, I'm angry that we're finding out about this 2 days before we start filming. I don't know. I'm gonna go.
Shane, stop it. You can't go. We have too much to do.
I'm gonna go and I'm gonna do this in my...
Okay. I'm also thinking about this, and I'm like, back when Shane was doing all of the problematic stuff, like making these comments, like that little clip of him saying the defending pedophilia on that podcast, there weren't a lot of YouTube channels that were doing even what we're doing right now, where you take a summary of everything that somebody's doing and put it all together. The deep dives and stuff just weren't a thing.
Yeah.
And if they would have been, I feel like his cancellation would have came 10 years earlier.
Yeah. It would have, because there was no way for people to really know the compilation of all the things.
Yeah.
But also, he was fighting so hard in those clips for the thing that was really deterring people from auditioning, and the thing that people were really having a problem with was that he had a scene of a homeless person eating feces in his movie, and people were having a really big issue with that, thinking it was just like really vulgar and disgusting for no reason, that it didn't really have any use in the movie.
Because he probably has a weird fetish, is the only thing I can like.
Yeah. And so actors weren't wanting to be a part of that. And the directors were like, yo, like, we really need to cut this out. He was fighting for his life to keep this scene in there for whatever reason. Also, in the movie, Shane didn't only direct, he decided to cast himself for the character that was supposed to be the good-looking, athletic type golden boy that everybody wants. So he cast himself for that, and people said that initially, they said he couldn't really fit that character, so they changed that whole character so that he could play
like the lead
in this
guy.
movie. Yeah. And again, so wild. It's like he turned it into the Shane show. It's like he turned the thing that he was supposed to be a director for a film, and he turned it into his YouTube channel, essentially. And so people say, did he get himself blacklisted in Hollywood as a director? And they think so. He mentions in interviews with Zach saying that he always planned on being a director, and his favorite video out of all the 700 that he's uploaded was his movie trailer for Not Cool. Zachary Quinto, who's an actor, and Neil Dodson were the executive producers of both films for The Chair, and they were producers of the actual show The Chair. They moved their producer credits from Shane's movie and campaigned against it during the competition because they didn't like it so much. There's a video of Zachary Quinto talking about it.
See, when we watched Shane's movie yesterday, I was depressed for a couple of hours at least. I found it deeply offensive. I'm angry, actually. I'm angry. The fact that $850,000 got put into making something that was so egregiously offensive. And not only the material, but actually the fact that $850,000 was put into making that. It made me angry. And it's not something in any version or by any stretch of my imagination that I can ever put my name on or be associated with. The amount of time that I spent watching Shane's film, I will never get back in my life, and I am resentful of that.
Okay.
But yeah, essentially
bringing racism into this movie is so unnecessary.
It was literally like a feature-length YouTube video. It was Shane Dawson, what he does on his channel, but he took it and made it for a screenplay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this whole segment shows the kind of person that Shane really is behind YouTube.
Yeah.
In my opinion. Like how I said, he gets to show the narrative that he wants on YouTube, but in a show where there's people filming and it's like a documentary and he doesn't have control of the final edit and stuff, you get to see how he really acts.
Yeah.
That brings us into the eras of Shane's content. So from 2014 to 2016 is when Shane started making his food channel videos. He's seeming to appeal to kids, even though he was like still making dirty jokes and like references. So at this time, his target audience was unclear. It seems like he didn't know what direction he wanted to go to like in his content. But 2017 is when he stopped making the food videos and started making content with Drew Monson, who we talked about before, and a new player in Shane's world, Garrett Watts. Do you know Garrett?
I feel like I know. I remember Garrett being a part of his videos. That's not the guy that filmed for him during the documentary stuff, right?
No.
Okay.
So Garrett moved to LA to pursue a degree in filmmaking, and he met Shane on Tinder. and they actually went on a Tinder date together, and that's how they met. But the content with Shane, Garrett, and Drew took off, and they'd go around to like haunted places, and it was called Spooky Boys. And they were actually really funny. I did watch the three of them. I really like Drew, and I like Garrett. And don't condone Shane's pedophilia, but Drew and Garrett really were the ones carrying at this time for me. So Drew and Shane had a falling out, and still no one knows like the exact reason why. But during their falling out, Shane told Trisha that the falling out was all Drew's fault. And Trisha, being the loyal friend to Shane that she was, just believed him and stopped having any contact with Drew, even though, how I said, Drew and Trisha had been friends first, and Drew was her friend. Once Drew left, Shane met his now husband, Ryland. And Ryland, his backstory is that he moved to LA to pursue broadcast journalism, and for a little bit he worked for Clever TV until he quit to make videos with Shane. So, in my opinion, I've always felt and got the vibe that Ryland is like a gold digger.
Yeah, I definitely... It takes something to be with someone who has a fetish of children.
Yeah.
But Ryland is like a small man. And I'm like, what if that's his thing? Ryland's a little sweet boy. And
yeah.
Ugh.
Ew.
And maybe Ryland's weird too. I really don't know.
Yeah.
But he always seemed very reasonable in the videos. They would have a really dramatic documentary happening, and Ryland would come in and be like, or he'd say something that a normal person would think. And his sister seems normal enough.
I love Morgan Adams.
I do too.
I'm not too hot on Ryland because like I do think he's married to Shane, and I think like why? But also, I think he's a gold digger, and the fact that he came to LA to pursue, like he wanted to be some kind of public face of like journalism, be on a show, like talking or do something, and he meets Shane and he sees his ticket there is how I think. But yeah, so around this time is when Shane released his first docuseries, and his first docuseries was a 3-part series of him reconnecting with his abusive father that we talked about in the beginning. Shane went on to create many more documentary style videos, which was creating a larger workload for him. As you remember, like when he started making the documentaries, that was like his thing. That was...
I loved them.
Yeah. It transformed his whole channel from the food videos to something that people actually cared to watch.
I'm telling you, like him making those videos, it was like, you know how Dr. Phil's, I guess some people really don't like him, but Dr. Phil is like this weird voice of reason. And like in the entertainment world, like Shane had that same energy.
Yeah.
Like he would go into a crazy scenario and then like for whatever reason make you see it in a different light. He was good at it, but was it real?
See, I think Shane's really good at manipulation.
Yeah.
And I think that's why he can transform himself so well.
He's so empathetic in this weird way that it just makes you like trust him. Like you could see in the videos how much Tana like opened up to him like during her videos and stuff.
Yeah. So when he had this larger workload, Garrett told him about his friend Andrew, who was a Viner, and that's like how Garrett knew Andrew, and said that Andrew would be a big help and could like help edit, help film, help do all the things. Andrew actually lived with Carly and Aaron from the Vlog Squad, and I didn't know anything about that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
Yeah. He lived with them for a while, edited videos for them and other influencers like Gabby Hanna.
Okay.
So that's his back story with that. He made videos with Shane, Garrett, Ryland, and Andrew remained faceless until everybody so Andrew was faceless, but he was always making noise.
His personality. Yeah.
He was faceless, but he would say things or he would laugh or whatever. And so it was like this big mystery. Like it was this fun thing for everybody to be like, who's behind the camera? Right. So they finally revealed who he was in 2018. And people loved Andrew. Like people, I always thought Andrew was hot.
I don't even remember what he looks like. I'm going to look him up.
He's cute.
Wait a minute. I swear to you, this guy used to go way before Shane ever worked with him. I feel like I remember him from the OG YouTube days. I'm going to have to look into him more because he looks so familiar. And maybe it's from Shane's videos, but I'm like, I don't know. I want to look into him more. I'm curious.
So Shane was at the peak of making his docuseries. So he had The Truth About the Mind of Jake Paul, which we discussed in our Jake video.
Jake Paul needs to go and do a documentary on Shane Dawson. That's who really needed the character development. Oh my God.
And then he also had conspiracy theories with Shane Dawson, which featured the infamous Chuck E. Cheese conspiracy theory. Do you remember that one?
I feel like I remember it being like a joke.
I think that like Chuck E. Cheese had a lawsuit against Shane Dawson or something because his whole conspiracy was like
it was about pedophilia, wasn't it?
No.
Oh.
No, for once. It was that the pizzas, like, when you see them and they're cut, they're all misaligned. So Shane's theory was that they take the uneaten pizza from people's tables and put it together for a new pizza, which was hurtful to Chuck E. Cheese's business at the time. So, yeah. But during the Jake Paul documentary, he had a psychiatrist come in and secretly diagnose Jake as a sociopath.
That was like, whenever I was watching that stuff back to put the Jake Paul thing together, I was like, this man, before he ever even talked to Jake, had the therapist getting interviewed on the way that Jake Paul is perceived online and diagnosing him with something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Shane, you are a pedophile.
Yeah, literally.
Oh my God.
So, and in part of it, when they're talking about Jake and him being a sociopath, the psychiatrist is talking about the qualities of a sociopath, and you can see Shane looks at Andrew and he gives him this look and mouths something that we presume to be Garrett's name. So there's a clip of that.
Because I know in that video, Shane was like, I've never met a sociopath before. And it's like, have you never looked inward?
Yeah.
Like, you are a YouTuber.
So failure to plan ahead, they'll want to do things and then not do things on a whim. Which is what makes them a whim, you know?
That sounds like someone we know. But they don't have emotions, so, like, they wouldn't cry.
They might if they thought it made them fit in or, like, get what they want, because they're deceitful.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So the fact that he's like thinking about Garrett, and Garrett is this funny, just like really giddy, nice guy. And so for him to be saying that about Garrett, but Shane, you casted yourself in a movie that the person was not even
and then
anything
used
like
all their money to make whatever you wanted. Just the rules.
It was the Shane show. And
I'm surprised he didn't get sued for that.
Yeah. And then whenever he does these documentaries and stuff, these people are breaking down to him and he doesn't cry. He doesn't really like show emotion. He doesn't.
I can hear him like sitting here, like he's sitting on a couch, like with his hand like on his neck. He's like, yeah.
He's just, oh my God, wow.
Yeah.
He doesn't have emotion. So it's like, how are you going to sit here and say that what she's saying is Garrett Watts? Okay.
Again, in retrospect, it's crazy that Shane Dawson made a documentary to lighten the view of Jake Paul.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, like Jake Paul had some like essay allegations and stuff that were just allegations, but it's like Shane is...
Yeah, you have a lot more baggage than Jake Paul. You needed help fixing your reputation. You didn't need to help fix other people's. But this led to Shane's most popular documentary, which was The Secret World of Jeffree Star. And this was in 2019. And I feel like unless you were living under a rock, you know about this docuseries.
Yeah.
It was like the biggest thing. And it really changed the whole game. Everybody was watching it. Everybody wanted the conspiracy palette. It was a big thing. Once Shane started hanging out with Jeffree after the world of Jeffree Star, there seemed to be like a shift, seemingly due to spending time with Jeffree and now having millions off of the conspiracy palette. Shane started being horrible and rude to his friends, which was mostly Garrett at the time. So there's a video of that.
Hey, Mungo's Hospital, heard of it? What? Okay. That's over. No, I'm cooking. Put down Pauline, no!
Give me all the lunch monies. Give me your coins out of your pocket, boy.
Oh. What do you think, it was open? Stop. For Garrett's birthday, Riley got him a bottle of alcohol, and then for Andrew's birthday, you got him a Gucci bag.
But yeah, so they always are ragging on Garrett and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I also think that at this time, like my theory is that Garrett and Shane met on Tinder. And so I'm like, was Rylan like a little jealous because Garrett was hanging out with them all the time?
Yeah, I mean, if they met in that way, like their plan initially was most likely to have some kind of physical like relationship, I would think.
It was Tinder. You swipe right or left before even knowing each other. They had to have some kind of physical attraction. And they also, I think they've talked about in videos that they kissed 3 times or something. They said they had a weird experience in bed. They had a weird, awkward like moment or something. And so for a person like that to be hanging out with you and your like significant other all the time, I feel like Rylan was probably jealous.
Yeah, for sure.
And interestingly enough, Jeffree said in his documentary with Shane, I don't think it was The Secret World of Jeffree Star, but I think Shane did one prior to that where it was like swapping lives with Jeffree for a day or something. And in that one, Jeffree was saying that he wanted to have sex with Garrett and he would pay his rent for a few months to do so. And they were all like laughing about it. And in the back of that, you see Rylan when he finds out, Rylan's like, what's going on? And when they tell him what's going on, he's, oh my God, Garrett, do it. Which
is Rylan just trying to pawn him off on Jeffree?
Yeah, he's trying to pawn off on somebody else. He's get away from my man.
Yeah.
My pedophile, get away from him. And also, it speaks to, for me, how I said that I think Rylan's a gold digger. It's like, as soon as Rylan heard of someone wanting to pay rent for somebody to do whatever, he was like, ooh, you should do it. And so, to me, that's probably how Rylan thinks. Shane's brand also shifted after meeting Jeffree. So, prior to Jeffree, Shane's brand was like, I sit at home and I have one t-shirt and I drink root beer and burp and sit on the toilet. That was his brand. But after he met Jeffree, it switched up and Shane started being like very materialistic. They would be like, we're going to ride in our Range Rover and wear Gucci flip-flops and like all this. So yeah, he started getting really materialistic, really into the Jeffree world at that time, which brings us to the year that changed it all.
Okay.
It changed everything for everyone, but specifically Shane Dawson. So during 2020, controversies that we discussed all throughout this, they all came to light all at one time.
And this is really when deep dives blew up. Like
people were bringing
up nothing to do but scour through the old. And 2020 was when the conspiracy thing was huge. So like it was really a matter of time. Like Shane got so big and people were like, did we just forget he like, made all these crazy comments?
And he got so big, and it's that bubble has to pop at some point, and when you have a past like Shane Dawson, that bubble's gonna really pop. So Shane, at this time, everything was happening that we discussed. Everybody was turning against Shane. Nobody wanted anything to do with him. He only had a handful of people that stood by him. Those people were Jeffree, Trisha, and Rylan. So those are like the only people that he had.
Trisha like stood by him after all the pedophilia stuff came out.
Yeah. I don't know if she was seeing the pedophilia stuff, or if she was only taking like what Shane was telling her.
Knowing Shane though, you knew that he was like that.
Yeah, but she said she's talked about that she was blindly loyal to Shane, and that I'm sure he was probably just, oh my God, I used to say the N-word or I did blackface like back in the day. Everybody's coming for me. He probably didn't mention that he had these like pedophilia justifications and stuff like that. So she stood by him. They were the only 3, Jeffree, Trisha, and Rylan. Garrett and Andrew, they went back to Washington and quarantined together, and after this they were never seen with Shane ever again.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, they also have never acknowledged the beef or the falling out. They don't talk about Shane.
Maybe they got paid off.
Possibly.
That's crazy.
So yeah, but Garrett and Andrew are still friends. They still make content together. I really like Garrett, like I said, so I watch him with stuff. And I think I have a crush on Garrett, even though it'll never happen in a million years because he's gay. But he's so cute to me, and he's funny. And him and Andrew are still like friends. They had a podcast. I'm not sure if they still do or not, but they did during the year 2020. They did it together, and they're funny, and I like them. Anyways, Trish and Shane, their drama, it started when Hair by Jay, which was a guy that did Jeffree Star's wigs and stuff, went on a long rant on Instagram Live. It was on January 5th of 2021. And he was like mocking her, talking about how she didn't have any money and like all this kind of stuff.
Shane was? Or the hair guy?
The hair guy.
Okay.
So Trisha made a YouTube video and spoke about the trip to Las Vegas that she took with Jeffree in February of 2020. And she said she was treated poorly. She went on this trip with Shane and Rylan and Jeffree and like a handful of other influencers. she said that someone on the trip messaged her telling her a lot of like hurtful stuff that people were saying about her behind her back. They were talking about her weight and that she was fat and that she had bad skin and that she wasn't fun to be around. They were just saying like a bunch of mean things behind her back. And she said even before she knew the things that people said about her, that she felt like the trip was giving Mean Girl energy because they ditched her. They left her hanging. Like she said that they were like, come to the casino, and she went to the casino and then she called them and they weren't there and they didn't try to call her back or anything like that. And so Jeffrey got her a gift, and then there was one night where they all went out, but she said that she didn't want to go out that night. And so since she didn't go out that night, Jeffrey gave her gift to Rich Lux and took her gift away, which
How
is
weird.
That's so weird. And so like, it is Mean Girl. It's giving Mean Girl energy. So Trisha claimed that Hair by Jay overcharged her for the wig, but it was like essentially just a big misunderstanding. Like Jeffrey had said that he was going to pay for her installs of the wig, which equaled up to $1,000, and he didn't pay for that. So then when she got home and he charged her for the wigs and the install, she felt that he was overcharging her, but he was just charging
her what Jeffrey didn't pay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was just this big misunderstanding. There was a lot of back and forth Twitter drama about this. It was between everybody. It was going from Trisha to Jeffrey to Hair by Jay. Everybody was going back and forth. Trisha was getting dragged. She was having a really hard time making videos saying that she felt really triggered because everybody was like coming for her over this. And people felt that like Ryland and Shane were just sitting by and letting it happen and that they should step in. But what solidified the falling out is when Shane told Trisha that he didn't want to believe that any of what she said about Jeffrey was true. And so Trisha wanted Shane and Ryland. She said that she never said to have no association with Jeffrey. She knew they had the conspiracy palette, like they are doing business together. Like she wasn't expecting that, but that she wanted them to take down their podcast episode with Jeffrey. And then she wanted them to unfollow Hair by Jay on Instagram. And she said that she felt really betrayed because they wouldn't do those things. And what's that face you're giving right now?
I'm just like, this is why they had a falling out?
Yeah.
It's not like Trisha having a daughter and being like, you're a pervert.
She didn't have a daughter yet at this.
That's true.
So
I guess 2020 was when her and Moses got married.
I think this was during like the frenemies era.
Okay.
So I think she was just meeting him.
I was
at this
not
time.
clocked into the frenemies era.
Oh, I was here.
I wish I
for
would have
it.
been so I could like have more.
I loved frenemies, and then I was so sad because that was like. I was like, Trisha is having a redemption arc right now. Like, she's getting better. And then she had the falling out with Ethan. And I was like, Trisha, you're reverting back, honey.
Yeah.
I was real sad about that. But yeah, so she felt betrayed because they wouldn't do those things for her when she felt like she had always been blindly loyal to him. She had quit being friends with Drew. She quit being friends with, like, she knew Garrett. She knew all the people. She wasn't friends with anybody who Shane wasn't friends with, like, after they would have a falling out. And yeah, and they couldn't reciprocate that for her. And not only could they not reciprocate that and do those things she was asking, he was still actively like promoting Jeffrey at the time because of the, the palette and everything. And she said that as she thought about it more, he never online, like publicly has defended her ever, which she said she knew she was problematic and stuff, but he just never made any public effort that they were like friends and that he was there for her. Trisha also said that Jeffrey used Shane to get his reputation back.
Yeah,
and that
for sure.
Yeah, and that Shane used Jeffrey to make money from the conspiracy palette, which brought in millions. And she said that she's known Shane for 12 years and that the Shane that she used to know is not who he is anymore.
Do you want to know him? I just like, all I can think about is every time she's talked crap about David Dobrik, who has, like what he did to Jeff was wrong, but I do think it was an accident overall. Like, I don't think David...
It was an accident. The way that he handled it afterwards was not...
but Trisha talks about him like he's the worst person on planet Earth, and it's like, she hates on like James Charles, and I'm like, you don't even mention Shane Dawson, and it's like, what is y'all's like debt to this man to not hold him? He should be in jail.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I, honest to God, feel like the statements and stuff that he's made, like about children and the things that he's done, are worse than any of these other people that we.
No, I agree.
I think they're worse than James Charles, and we hate James Charles.
Yeah.
And literally,
and I'm thinking about Tana being like, how often do you see Shane?
Yeah, he kissed 12-year-olds. And there was even a time I remember when in 2020 when everything was happening and coming out about Shane, where Tana, like how he said, she flip-flops all the time.
Yeah.
And she said that she, as a fresh 18-year-old, did a collab with Shane, and that she was like straddling him or something, and he told her to pee on him.
Yeah, no.
And so she did, or something like that. And she was talking about it in retrospect, saying that was like really weird and all this. But it was like, for Tana, it's just because it was cool to not like Shane Dawson. And she rides with whatever's popular at the time.
Yeah, whatever's paying her bills.
So Trisha then posted a video called Shane and Ryland Are Scum of the Earth.
Okay.
She talked about how on Ryland's podcast he had lied about saying that he wished Trisha would have come to them about her issues with Jeffrey. So Ryland has a podcast. It's like a drama podcast. And when all this was going down, he decided to take to the podcast and say, I've seen all the stuff with Trisha, and I just really wish like it could be different if she would have come to us and told us her issues with Jeffrey. Like, we had no idea.
Yeah,
They knew.
Yeah.
And she said actually that she came home from the trip. She came home from the trip in Las Vegas with Jeffrey early, and she told them why. She told them because she didn't feel like she was vibing with everybody. She felt like it was mean girl energy. So they knew then that it was an issue with Jeffrey. But then they're going to act like she's never said anything. And that was a big issue for her. She also mentions like Shane has never supported her in the way that she would support him. He never came to any of her shows when she was doing music. Trisha's music. It's like your friend you want to support. And said that Shane fed her info about other YouTubers in hopes that she would make a video about this person or something, which I thought was interesting for her to say, considering that it then came out later that Tati says that Shane and Jeffrey were feeding her all this stuff about James Charles to make the Bye Sister video.
They were all like Dramageddon in hindsight is like you got 5 players involved, and then you've got Shane and Jeffrey.
They're like the puppet masters,
like holding the puppet strings.
Yeah. So that
kind of like documentary.
Yeah. But that really was interesting to me to see that she said that, because in hindsight, it's like, wow. So I really believe that now.
You've got like all of the all the versions of the stories, and then the truth is where each story lines up a little bit, and that's the one consistent thing.
Yeah. So thought that was interesting. Trisha also mentions that Shane didn't contact her about the initial videos that she made about Hair by Jay and the tweets that were happening and everybody coming for her. He never texted her to see how she was doing or anything like that. He only texted her and contacted her once she mentioned him in one of her videos. So that shows like the kind of person that he is, where he doesn't care until it involves him, and that he was like never really truly a friend to Trisha.
It's also like whenever the Colleen stuff had a falling out, Trisha and Colleen had just launched a podcast together or something, and you were so involved with Shane, and all this stuff did come out in 2020. Why is this what you're talking about? But whenever it was Colleen messing with kids, it was the end of the world.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Again, but it goes back to the fact that we say Trisha's really biased.
Yeah.
And she will really try to defend somebody if she's friends with them. No, even if she demonizes someone else for doing the same things.
Yeah.
Who isn't her friend. Shane told Peter Moran, do you know who that is?
Yeah.
A drama YouTuber, for people who don't know, that Peter Moran told Trisha that Shane said to not hang out with her, and that she was a pathological liar. So basically during this time, Trisha was just finding out all this stuff that Shane talked behind her back all these years when she had been blindly loyal to him. So it was really hurtful to her, and she took back any support that she ever gave Shane. Trisha says that Jeffrey and Hair by Jay have at least texted her to apologize, but that Shane and Ryland never did and never have. And that all of the friendships that Shane has had end ever, Trisha says that it's due to him, even though he always tries to portray that it's the other person that's horrible and did everything wrong and that Shane did nothing wrong. So that's pretty much where that is for Shane and Trisha. So it leads us to the present day where Shane has slowly come back to the internet after his cancellation. He quit making videos for a while. He wiped a lot of videos from his channel. And then he'd always be like, oh, I know I'm hated, but blah, blah, blah. I guess I'm never coming back.
Yeah, and he made being canceled like a part of him.
Yeah, like a personality trait. Try to make it cute, almost.
Yeah.
And he started dipping his toe into the water of coming back by appearing in Ryland's vlogs.
Mm-hmm.
So Ryland kept
he's
vlogging.
in Morgan's vlogs every once in a while.
Yeah. Ryland kept making vlogs, and Shane had nothing to do with YouTube or social media at all at this point. But he appeared in one of Ryland's vlogs, and then he started consistently appearing, even though he hadn't come back to his channel yet.
Mm-hmm.
He was on the internet again. Then on October 7th of 2021, Shane decided to come back to his channel. He came back with a video called The Haunting of Shane Dawson, and it was the same like documentary style that he had been doing prior, and he still continues to make this kind of content on his main channel till this day. On December 7th of 2023, Shane and Ryland had twins, and they're now parents, which is crazy to think about, considering all of the pedophilia.
Yeah, that's creepy.
That has gone on. Their vlogs on Ryland's channel, like I said in one of our other videos before, they're really pretty boring. Mm-hmm. They're really mundane things. They just stay at home all the time and take care of their kids.
Yeah.
But they have really clickbaity titles. It'll be like, this is the first time that this has ever happened to us. It's the craziest thing. And it's literally like their kid crawling or spitting up or something.
Has Shane ever addressed everything in a video? Because I don't remember him ever owning up to all of this.
He did an apology video in 2020 when he was getting canceled. It wasn't very good.
And the fact that he hasn't really addressed it that much, it's like he might not say it publicly anymore, but he's still making jokes behind closed doors that are probably like
too far and weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't care, even if he made a good apology video,
like
I can't.
Like you're a pervy person. Like, that's just who you are.
Like his whole entire lifespan on YouTube, how I said at the beginning, he started at 19. So he's been like a technical adult his whole YouTube career. He did so many things like messing with children.
Yeah.
And having weird comments. Like I can't get past it. So I don't even care if he made the best apology video that anybody's ever seen. I can't get past that.
No.
So yeah, Shane Dawson, Fred is dead. It's actually Shane Dawson is dead.
Yeah.
To me.
That is worse than I thought. Like I knew it was bad. I knew that there was like some creepy stuff with children, which is like, ugh. But that's even just worse than I remember it being, honestly.
Yeah.
But I'm interested to see, because Jeffrey's trying to come back or do whatever he's doing right now. And like, he like subtly like talks about Shane like they're still friends, and I'm like,
I don't feel like they are. Like I don't think they have any problems.
Mentions it like as if they were, but
I don't think they have problems or anything, but I don't think that they like talk on a regular basis or are actual friends or anything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where it ends. Shane has a podcast.
I'm not going to be checking that out.
Yeah, I haven't ever listened to it.
I don't want to hear him talk about anything.
I don't plan to listen to it. I know it's with his brother, and they probably talk about some other stupid conspiracy theories that are dumb. Oh my God, did you see that crumble cookies are 1,000 calories? Ooh, okay, read the nutrition label.
Like crumble.
But yeah, so that's where that ends, and we're not going to be checking out Shane Dawson. Hopefully you guys will stick around and keep checking us out. Yeah. Subscribe to our channel.
And follow us on Spotify. You can subscribe on there. Apple Podcasts. Rate us 5 stars.
All of our social media is at GlitterGelPenPod. And we will catch you next time. TTYL.
Bye.